This CNC project is creating on the tool a platform onto which to set an air handler. And I'm going to be placing it on top of the steel platforms that are here, the steel L angles. I'm going to drop it right on top. But for right now, we've got to get those corners notched. We've got to notch that around those head of the bolts, so let's move on and do that. Okay, let's see if we can figure out what happened on what we were doing. Let's open up our project. Here it comes. Here it comes. Okay. Well, it's not drawn there. It's not drawn at all. Pocket toolpath. Yeah, it's not drawn. I could have swore that I drew it. Apparently I did not. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're gonna have to cut some notches into this. So we're gonna start with this, and let's copy to new layer. Let's call it notching. New layer is visible, new layer is active. I would say yes. All right, so what we're going to want to do is add the notching in the three corners. So if I recall, it was 1.5 inches wide. We're going to make it 2.25, and then we'll make it 5/8 off the end. So yeah, I mean, what are these? I must have drew guidelines and then just ignored them. It didn't proceed. Yeah, 3/4, and then 2 inch. Yeah, 2 inch would work. Change it to 2.5 though. A little bit of breathing room there. So I'm going to bring in some new guidelines and let's see, okay, that's the edge. So let's just go relative to guide 2.5, close. Which one was it? Yeah, that one right there. So let's draw a line here, just so I remember it's there. Then we want to come in 3/4 in the depth from the edge, which will need a new guide, I suppose, here. And then relative guide, negative 0.75, create, close. Okay, that's 0.75. Let's do this. Delete line here, here, here. That would be our notch for the bolt there. Let's take a look. 3/4, okay.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Two and a half. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That looks good. Okay, now we are on the notching layer only. So let's see if we can trim off some of the excess here. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do. Let's go over here. Let's find our same vector lines because we should, we'll have this one. We'll have the 3/4. That should be here to here. Yeah, now we just need 2.5 from the outside edge. What's this? It's 2. Okay. So we're going to move this new guide negative 2.5, create, close. That should be here, here, here. 3/4, okay. 2.5, okay, that's good. Now we can trim. Beautiful. Now we got to do one down here. Close. Now we've got the y-axis line. Now we need, okay, 3/4. Now we need a guide relative from here, 0.75. Now we should be here, 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 here. Let's measure that. 3/4 and 2.5. Okay, let's trim. Alrighty. Okay, so the way that I've laid the workpiece up on the table is not in this orientation, and rather than flip this, which I could easily mirror this, I'm just going to move it on the table because then I would have to mirror all of my layers or flip them. So I will reorient the workpiece. But before we do that, let's um, let's come up with a pocket. Yeah, this inherited all the last information from the job I was just working on. So what I think I'd like to do actually first is I don't really want to go around the whole perimeter. I just want to do the notching. So let's see about just getting rid of these. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. Maybe it would be nice to have just the machine run continuously. So let's do that. Let's get our details popped in here. So our cut depth. Yeah, I'm going to measure the workpiece because I remember the cut depth was ever so slightly shy, but ever so slightly shy. So let's measure our cut depth. Actually, we're going to measure, maybe we don't need to. Yeah, we don't. 1.934. I think I added 25,000. It's not super critical. Uh, we'll go 1.955. Yeah, that should be good. Now we've got to be sure our syntax is correct here. Let's select our 3/4 inch bit, which was here. Or was it? Now let's take a look here. Yeah, we're making that 2.5 inch dimension greater as well because of the radius that will occur in there. No, we set that to 8.8. 0.01, 0.022024. The outside, we've got our cut depth, clear all passes, 8. Yeah, I want it taking as much as it did last time. It was quite aggressive what it was doing last time when it profile cut the entire perimeter. I feel like a ramp is necessary. Yeah, actually, it's not positioned where I want it on the table. So let's move the selected object. Absolute. Yeah, it works for me. Now I just have to square it off to the edge of my table. That will work. Yeah. Apply. Close. On the outside. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay, so that was the error that we had. We didn't create the notches. I knew that they were there, but I got I I got too hung up on the getting it done. So we're still looking at this from the bottom. We don't see this is what it would look like actually from the top. It sure looks right. Let's get the machine turned back on and I had turned it all off naturally. I'm going to pause this while I make some mechanical alterations, get the piece turned around, get everything zeroed. I got the notching tool craft updated. I'm just retrimming the perimeter now. It's turning out okay now.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, so we've got the piece recut. Everything looks nice, and now we're gonna go back underneath and see if we can get this piece fit in. It'll be a tight fit because this won't really make any accommodation for us. But that's the notch that would be needed to get around the head of these bolts. So let's set this up right now, see what happens here. Let's get to work on that. First, I'm going to lay a new piece of neoprene, the one that we got a little too close on, unfortunately, in the dust skirt. That's going to be a not inexpensive lack of wisdom. So new piece of neoprene's on there. The gloves are good to have, obviously, but the reason I'm saying that is because OSB is in particular gnarly when it comes to splinters. OSB is not fun at all. Okay, wish me luck. This is really something that two people should be doing, in my opinion. Maybe. Should work. Okay. Now, let's go back to the other side so I'm not slamming it in. Maybe we'll see a little bit better. Put Humpty Dumpty back together. You're right, it is a lot of work for a platform. You are right. Uh-huh. 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 Okay. Gonna have to bring it in. You're certainly right. Bolt head. Okay. Well, it's in. Yeah, it's in. I am glad we sized it as we did. That is, to be sure. Move some of that slack back down here, where it was. So the platform's in, and it's not ideal, but it's in, and I have no major complaints. So not ideal to me means somehow I'm coming up long on both sides. And I mean, it fits. It's just a little hanging long is the bottom line. It is not coming out for me to trim that 1 inch off. It's just not necessary. Let's look at the other side since we're here. 63.5 is what I measured. Over here, that notch serves us well for this conduit, which, you know, it's where it was. No problem with that, with its spacing. So it's in, and it's going to serve the function. And the function, let's get to the function. What was its function? Let's roll that. Let's roll our air handler over here. There it is. And I can see that just running it yesterday. It's white up at the top. See? See how white that is? I just had that running yesterday for about 4 hours. So I know that it works. Or at least I believe it does. So, let's slide this back in. You know, let's not do that just yet. Because I still have some neoprene left. Not very much. Not much at all. Now we can get a piece of it down here, and that will allow me to better slide it because that's what's actually making contact. And actually the length is perfect. Just perfect for it. We're going to get them right on top of those screw heads. The adhesive seems pretty tenacious that's on here. And, you know, in the future, I'll bring more of that neoprene in the next one when I change the filters. Yeah, we'll see. If that neoprene proves to be effective, which it will be, I'll add more. Now, these air handlers for me got started with working in an environment that was dusty. And it wasn't a wood shop sort of dust. It was actually an unfinished basement with uncoated, unsealed concrete walls. Small amount of dust actually constantly in the air on that. And obviously you can tell I had to flush my filters to the bottom so that I could lay it flat on the platform. Okay, basically what I imagined that I would have. Actually, maybe we will rotate it at some point clockwise 90 degree and get the fan picking up right behind the PVC tubes. I want to shim this back a little bit still. So I want it to actually be underneath the table here. I want this to be flush with here. And actually version 2 is going to have to get smarter, because just yanking this off, I'm going to have to get a lot smarter with how I slide this out in the future, because I'm not going to be, it's not easy to get out. It's not going to be enjoyable changing the filters. So this is what we did. So the question now becomes is, how did we come up with 63.5, meaning why is it hanging out? You know, a lot of this is simply, it's an exercise to learn what we did and how it's to be done. 63.5, what did I come up with? Maybe I transposed 61.5 to 63.5. Let's see. Yeah, that has to be what it is. It's 61.5, not 63.5. So the lesson to learn here is measure twice, cut once. I had 63.5 in my head, and what's interesting is that mistake was picked up from the very beginning. That's what the problem is with that. I'm happy with the platform. I'm not going to change it. It was a lot of work in, not a lot of work, but it's a lot of material, allowing us, and actually, what did you come here for? Well, I know why you came. You want to see if the room is going to go underneath. So let's check that out. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. And I can't say that I actually endorse Roombas for shop environments, but I'll tell you, they work. And they're pretty durable. They don't like dust. long term, because what happens is the sensor windows here and here, when these get so terribly dirty that it can't see anymore, it's not going to operate. It'll think it's hitting something. So you've got to clear these. But taking it apart is relatively, it's simple in the sense that you can take a lot of pieces off and get down to change some basic parts. So they're effective. And I sweep, but I leave small particulate for now's not the time. Come here, you. Ah, yeah. What's that all about? Yeah, right under, and beautiful. And then, of course, right out the other side. Yeah, it fits. At least that part we got right. And I'm grateful for that. That part we got right. It goes right under there. So, what's the mistake? The mistake is, as Chris Burns has said and cautioned, there are many reasons why something comes out not. There are many reasons why something comes out wrong, and overconfidence, even with someone with exceptional experience like himself. So, the moral of this story for me is actually measuring it. Doing an honest measurement. I mean, this project has spanned over a few days, so I'd like to think I got back down on my hands and knees and remeasured the 61.5, but somehow I picked up 63.5, and that's why it's too long. So, not checking the final drawing with where it's going to fit created the mistake of no notches for the bolt heads and the fact that it's too long. That should have all been caught earlier and corrected in the tool pathing, so that a job that was epically long just turned into 50% longer than epically long. And that's what I've learned on this project. So it's a win in terms of the learning experience. So thank you very much. So the fun news is that we know that the Roomba works. It goes underneath, and it's actually quite good. And very, very yeah, the vibration is discernible, but to the point where you're not exactly sure. Now I'm going to say it's negligible. And what I'll do is, I'm not happy with the neoprene underneath there. I'm going to do something better to slide it out and insulate it off the platform. And I'll do that at my next filter change. And I think at that point, it'll be really awesome. What's nice about this Delta is obviously the remote, which I believe is standard. You can't get them from Delta, but I am quite sure that they're listed under Jet, probably Grizzly, you know, names like that. But you can turn it on, and 3 clicks puts it on a 4-hour timer, which is the longest. So when I know that I'm going to be less than 4 hours out, I'll turn this on, or I'll turn it on when I'm leaving and set a 4-hour timer. What's nice is the same remote works the one up in the ceiling as well. So These are old. I've had these for at least 10 years and they work just fine. These filters are great. I've got that filter up there backwards in case you're even remotely interested, because the platform project was literally all about the air handler. You can see that's pretty black. I've got the high MERV on the outside, which is an obvious mistake, which I didn't make down here. I put the finer particle unit on the inside, and you know, the reason I take these together is these filters are cheap. They're cheaper than having them custom made to the size. I don't care. A roll of duct tape and I'm all good. It's easy to also remove and throw the whole thing in the garbage. You cut the joint or the seam on the tape pulls off around the perimeter and you're as right as rain. Really good, easy stuff. Okay, I think this is absolutely going to wrap this project up. I may dip in with an update at some point down the road, but it'll be a different video than this one. Thank you very much for going with me on this journey, and I appreciate your interest. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.